Hi everybody, my name is Jessica and this is my channel Planter. Now excuse my attire, I'm in between boats and I currently don't have kids home, so I figured today now would be the best time to film a video. Now today I'm going to talk about this guy, my Parlor Palm, or Dwarf Mountain Palm, or Niente Bella Palm, or Doria elegans. Isn't he pretty? Now, full disclaimer, this is a baby, and this is also my 5th Parlor Palm in my life. Yes, I've killed quite a few, and I'm stubborn enough to keep getting them because, well, the first one I had, I actually inherited that one from my mère when she passed away, and I had that plant for 6 years? 5 years. No, between 5 to 6 years before I had forgotten to water it, and it died. The second one I bought, I think, a year later, and that one only lived a year because then I overwatered it and the stem rotted. My third one I bought 3 years ago, or 3 or 4 years ago, and that one died because it had spider mites. And then I bought another one maybe 2 years ago, and that one died from thrips. Yeah. And then I bought this one last year, and so far it's surviving, it's hanging on. So I'm going to baby this one as much as I possibly can. Now these guys are native to the rainforests of Belize, Guatemala, and southern Mexico. Is known as the most extensively sold houseplant palms in the world. These guys have been around since Victorian era. So Queen Victoria had many of these in the castle. And almost every household has at least one. Maybe not almost, but the majority of the ones that I've been in have had at least some form of these, or the Majesty Palm. However, I do find these guys to be a little easier to take out of than the Majesty Palm, because I went through 3 Majesty Palms in 1 year, and this is the 5th one in like 10 years, so I'm trying. The last 2 wasn't my fault, they were the pest's fault, but is a flowering species. They'll make these little like light yellow, orangey red flowers, and they actually look more like balls, like these string of balls, than they do flowers, because they don't really have like petals and whatnot. And they can even produce like small berries as well, like very pea-sized berries off of these flowers. Now, can grow about 9 feet tall, maybe a little more in the wild, but the average, 9 feet, 3 meters, but the average household is usually around 4 feet, so about 120 centimeters, and they can spread as big as 3 feet. So 90 centimeters, 92 centimeters, give or take, roughly. Yeah. And the best thing about these guys, these are non-toxic to cats. So he has to be kept up very high because my cats love this guy. Like my spider plants, the Majesty Palm, the Ponytail Palm, anything that's like really thin leaf-like, where the, like the leaves are almost practically grass-like in a way, or the fronds, or whichever. So your cats will love to chew on these. So that's why mine hangs in the window, technically right here. This was his hanger, and I took him out so you could see him. Now this guy I'll water between 8 to 16 days. More so 16 days now because I'm not using my wood stove as much. But with the wood stove going, it'll be closer to the 8 days. And because one of the issues with these guys is yellowing leaves, excuse me, and yellowing leaves can be a number of issues. Incorrect watering, such as overwatering, underwatering, nutrient deficiency, fungal disease, and even pests. So when it comes to fertilizer, it is best to possibly fertilize these guys every second watering, and which is what I have been doing, and so far so good. He's doing fine, spitting out nice tall growth. These are some of his newest leaves here. The older ones, you can tell which ones are the older ones. They're the ones with like browning tips because I overwatered him, trying to make sure he wouldn't die, which is another common issue, is the browning tips. A lot of people think it's a humidity issue, but not with Parlor Palms. It's an overwatering issue. It is a high humidity plant, so when I have my wood stove going, I will mist him every 2 days. When my wood stove is not going, I'll mist him every 5. And he seems to be okay with that. You will need to clean his leaves too, just because of the way how they photosynthesize and whatnot. Now, I'll do his about every 2 to 3 months, depending on how dusty and how much the hair off my cats decides to fall off. Because the way these leaves are, like you can even see just how much the hair gets onto them. Yeah, part sun, part shade. My Parlor Palms have always done best in west and south facing windows. He's right here, so like this planter right here. So the west window is fine, he doesn't burn or whatnot, but when I have to have him near a south facing window, I'll have him pulled back a little bit, just so that he's not getting that direct bright light, because that's when you'll notice some leaf burn. Now the ideal temperatures for these guys are between 18 and 24 degrees Celsius. However, they have been known to survive short periods of only 4 degrees when potted up. Not outdoors, but in pots. It's one of the reasons why these plants were so popular during the Victorian era, because cold houses. It's like, oh, I can have a plant indoors, but yet my house is freezing. Well, not everybody was fortunate to be able to just turn on the dial and have heat in them days, like we kind of do now, or well, some of us do. But outdoors, the best hardiness zones for these guys are 10A, and because I'm in a 5B, he can only go outside between July and August if he wants to be at his happiest. Now the best soils for these guys is the cactus, palm, citrus, or the seed starting mix. I think this is a mix of coco coir, all-purpose, and perlite that I currently have him in. Because when I got this guy, it was the only soil I had. I had purchased him from the local co-op, and I just needed to get him in something right away, because there was actually 2 plants in one. They actually had him with a kalanchoe. I couldn't help but think to myself, you have a succulent type plant with a plant that preserves moist soil. Who's going to die first? So I separated them. I gave the kalanchoe to my cousin in Pleasant Bay, and I kept him. Because, well, Parlor Palm. But yeah, no, it seems to do fine with this soil. There is like, what would you call it? A weed or something growing here out of the soil. I'm not quite sure how this had gotten in here. I don't think this is going to be one of the flowers, because I've never had a Parlor Palm flower on me before. I think it's probably just a seedling or a weed that had gotten in, because my front door is right there too. Could have blown in from the wind, good Lord knows. Now the biggest pest of these guys are of course spider mites and thrisp. Nasty creatures, monstrous nightmares, every plant parent's biggest disaster. I did find thrisp on him the other day, so that's why some those spots that are on him are due to. I've been treating him with my insecticide. So far so good. I haven't seen any more thrisp. Thank goodness, because I don't want this one to die. But they can also be plagued by fungus gnats and mealybugs. He has been in the same room as fungus gnats, but they didn't seem to go around him too much. They paid more attention to some of my other plants. And I think it was because they were more interested in the propagations that I had going than they were of this guy. But yeah. Dandy little plant. I would not recommend my bird clock. I have to leave soon. Sorry. It's done. I would not recommend these for first-time plant owners. No, not at all. You do have to keep on top of them. Oh yes, so when you're watering them too, moisture meter level 4 at the least, and 6 at the most. Like if it's over 6, under 4, yes, water him. But yeah, no. Still a dandy little plant. Like I do really like him. I don't. No dirt. No. Now this pot is a plastic pot, and I actually purchased this off Amazon too, because the funny thing is the other Parlor Palm was in this one before it died, and when I got that one I actually bought at Kent, and the roots were coming out. And I had to up-pot it. And it was right when I had just started work too. So I had to order this pot from Amazon. I'll find that and I'll leave a link in the description, so then if you really like, because this is a really gorgeous pot. It's got like a mosaic design on it. So then if you'd like to have one too, you'll know where to find it. Now if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give me a thumbs down. Everybody has a right to their opinion. If you really like the video, subscribe. And if you don't like my video again, tell me why. Maybe I can fix it. If you don't know why, then you can still leave a thumbs down and just mosey on. And as always, live long, plant on.